Welcome back in here, VSiN At The Track. Midweek special, Aaron. Going to talk a little bit about the Breeders' Cup Classic and whether or not this year's field is shaping up to be the best Breeders' Cup Classic ever. Before we do it, what's the favorite Breeders' Cup Classic you've been to so far in your lifetime? I know you've been to quite a few.
Yeah, I've been really lucky, and you have as well. We both have been to a bunch. My favorite probably wasn't the absolute strongest race ever, but maybe had the best horse ever to run in it, and that was the 2022 Breeders' Cup that had Flightline. I don't think that you and I don't want to speak for you, but I don't know that I've ever seen a performance look so easy that was so damn good. And so Flightline in 2022 for me was one of my favorites. 2016, I want to throw that out there. Arrogant versus California Chrome. That was an epic race as well. Those two are just really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, the 2016 race was awesome to be at. Absolute banging of heads. I'm not sure anything will ever top 2010 for me, though. On a cold day at Churchill Downs, and you have Zenyatta, who everyone loves, 20 for 20 in his career, her last race, and Blame wins by a nose. I have never been in any stadium, racetrack, anything where I've heard it go from being so loud to so quiet in a split second, because it was a long nose. Everyone knew Blame got to the wire first, and that one will always stick with me. But when we talk about the best fields, I don't think any of those really apply to this conversation. I started going to the Breeders' Cup in 1994. I had all of the previous Breeders' Cups on VHS that my dad and I would watch together, so I feel like I have a pretty good handle on this one. I have three that stuck out to me. The 2000 Breeders' Cup I thought was sitting in third here. Tisnaup wins this over Giants Causeway. Horses like Albert the Great, Lemon Drop Kid, Futsiachi Pegasus, who won the Derby that year, Cat Thief, who won this race the previous year, all in that race. Very good field, but I didn't think quite held a candle to the top pick. Second for me was the 1994 effort, the first one I attended to, and that had Concern, who was the most underrated horse from that field, just ran second in the Travers, but it did have Tabasco Cat in there. You had Go for Gin, your Derby winner that year. Tabasco Cat won the Preakness and the Belmont. And the older horse segment was good with Best Pal and Bertrando as well. You had three Europeans who shipped in, so a very good field. But to me, it's the 1998 Classic. That is by far the best version of this race that we have ever seen. 10 horses went postward that day, Aaron. And in 1998, it was hard to make $1 million. 8 of the 10 were millionaires. The total purses won by this group before this race was $30 million, almost an average of $3 million per horse. 31 Group and Grade 1 victories heading into this race. Awesome Again wins it. Silver Charm, Victory Gallop, both in this, who were Triple Crown race winners. Swain came in from Ireland. He ran very, very well in this spot. Coronado's Quest was in this race. Skip Away, a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, was in here. Touch Gold. Oh, by the way, Arch finished 9th in a field of 10. Just to tell you how deep that 1998 version was. For my money, 1998 was the best Breeders' Cup Classic we've ever seen. If you disagree with me, hit us up in the comments here at VSiN Live on YouTube. Tweet or comment away on what you think the best version of the Classic was. Aaron, what's the best Classic field that you have seen?
Well, so I'm going to start from 2007 and go on. And look, I did a lot of research on previous ones, and that one that you just mentioned kind of came up in my research of doing it. But I just feel like, and you've been lucky, you've been in it a little bit longer than me, but I didn't grow up in racing. So 2007 was the first one. So I don't feel qualified to talk about the ones previous, right? I'm going to talk about the ones just that I've seen. And, I'll mention a couple like you did. I thought, maybe not at the time last year, but now looking back at it, that 2024 race really wasn't that bad when you think about it. Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Forever Young, pretty darn good horses there. Of course, Forever Young comes back to win a big race. We'll see, with Fierceness, how that plays out throughout the rest of the year in Sierra Leone. But obviously, championship-style horses last year, I thought that was a very, very good running of the race. Unfortunately, during my time, Mike, there hasn't been a ton of great ones, has there?
Nope.
I mentioned 2016 to open this. Arrogant and California Chrome, those were head-knocking special horses. The depth really wasn't there. 2015, the depth looked like it was going to be there when American Pharoah won it, but then Beholder scratched out. And so it's like, it was okay, but it wasn't, just amazing. We did have Honor Code in there. We had Tonalist. I mean, we had some horses. That was a pretty good and deep running, but you look at some of these other ones since I've been around the game.
Not great.
Not great. I have to go. The first one I was a heavy part of. The 2007 Breeders' Cup Classic was pretty darn good, and it
Mm-hmm.
was similar to 2024 that the 3-year-olds kind of carried the banner all year long. You had Curlin, you had Hardspun, you had Street Sense. It was kind of build of that Street Sense. Curlin kind of, they banged heads during the Triple Crown. Street Sense won the Derby. Curlin won the Preakness. Here's the big match here in the Breeders' Cup Classic. It turned into a laugher because one of my favorite horses of all time, and kind of the reason why I got into the game deeper than just a fan level, was Curlin, and he dominated. I thought that was a very strong one. So look, oddly enough, the strongest one for me, 2007 to 2024, was the race in 2007.
Yeah, I actually think since 2000, the strongest one was last year, 2024. I think the 2007 was very good, but if you look back last year, you had Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Forever Young, I think all very good horses. But you forget that City of Troy was in that race. It was a very interesting horse for Aidan O'Brien, who came over, got a lot of money there. You had Ushba Tesoro and Dermasotagate, who came in from Japan. They've both had very good careers so far. I thought last year's race was actually deeper than what it was, than just the 3-year-olds, right? And I think that's what it takes to have a great version of this. You need the Triple Crown winners. You need horses that have had success in Grade 1 races as older horses, and you need an international flavor. It's important at the Breeders' Cup. You kind of have to have that, which brings us to this year, which... Let's be honest, the storyline's galore here this year. You've got the 3-year-olds. It looks like we have at least 3, maybe 4, that are going to be ended up pointing toward the Breeders' Cup Classic. You've got the older horses. You've got the international flavor. You may even have a filly in Torpedo Anna. You laughed at me, but now it's the plan. This looks like a very, very good running of the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I'll just say it. If the horses that are currently aiming for it make it, I think it will be the best one I've seen. And that's, again, from 2007 on. I don't think it'll be close because when you think about it, the 3-year-old crop kind of dominated last year's Breeders' Cup. They're all back. And then this 3-year-old crop coming up seems to be elite, especially Sovereignty Journalism. Baeza's not far behind them. You still got a couple of other 3-year-olds hanging out there that we'll see. They got some proving to do, but maybe they could be in the race as well. The international flavor, I think more and more as we go through Breeders' Cups over and over like this, I think it's always going to grow and be there. So, yeah, this is going to be absolutely amazing. When you think about Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Forever Young, Sovereignty, Journalism, let's stop with that. Okay, throw in Torpedo Anna for just to appease you, Mike. Stop with that. That's good enough. That is an elite field.
If we get everybody, this will be better than that 1998 Classic that I mentioned. So you mentioned the 3-year-old. Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza. I think Mindframe, I've said this on record, wins the Travers and ends up in the Breeders' Cup Classic. You look at the older horses, and you mentioned those 3-year-olds. Forever Young, kind of an international horse, but has run in the U.S. quite a bit. You've got Fierceness back. You got Sierra Leone back. But not just that. You insert Nisos. You get a very good high-level horse like that. You insert Mindframe, who wasn't that level of horse last year, who very much is this year. So you got 2 additional 4-year-olds that are rolling in. Torpedo Anna, who I think does end up in that race. Another horse that gives you a storyline that makes it interesting. And then you've got White Barrio, who could 100% end up in that race, who has won that race before, who would be, 25-1? Like, what a ridiculous price on a past winner that you could possibly get. If we get everybody, this is the best version of the Breeders' Cup Classic that has ever been run. Now, will we get everybody? We don't know. But right now, looking ahead, I could not be more excited for what's going to happen in Del Mar in November.
Well, and you just did something right there that makes me think, because I forgot about Mindframe. I forgot about Nisos. I forgot about White Barrio, a former Classic winner. And they slipped my mind. And like,
exactly.
Those are like 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, like I said, you mentioned Magnitude, who could jump up and do things as well. So, that even tells me, even if we get a couple defections, which could happen, we still could be seeing one of the best Breeders' Cup ever.
Ear-to-ear smile getting tingles, talking about a race that is not 6 months anymore. I guess 3 months out, 4 months out from this point. I can't wait for the Breeders' Cup this year. I cannot wait for the Breeders' Cup Classic this year. Make sure you're checking out VSiN At The Track. We've got shows every Thursday over on @VSiN Live. You can catch us in podcast form, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe, download, rate, and review 5 stars only, and not miss a single episode. We'll throw these little midweek episodes in as well with different topics that we want to talk about in the horse racing world. Thank you very much for joining us here for the Breeders' Cup Classic conversation, and good luck at the track.